earlier, about 10 minutes ago, to make sure everything was live and working properly, and it was. We're starting to send data. We are streaming on our Facebook page. We are streaming on, not on YouTube yet. We are streaming on X as well. So you've got us all covered. Just a reminder, Facebook has changed the way we're streaming on YouTube now. Facebook has changed the way that live streams are handled. They only reserve them for 30 days, and after that, they drop us. So if you want to see anything after 30 days, you just need to go to the YouTube channel. All right, I can close that out because we're working fine. Here's a quick rundown of what we got talking about today. It's Gene Galin with Chatham Journal. Asheebo Rojas, the sports writer for the Chatham News and Record, all over the county. He's going to be talking a whole bunch about that. We've got Chatham County High School football, what happened last week. We've got what's coming up tonight. We talk about the power rankings. Drake Powell's in the news, got to play his first NBA game. Then we're going to talk about volleyball tournament. That's in session, and right now, two of the teams here in Chatham County are going to be playing tomorrow. So we'll talk about that as well. Soccer updates, getting close to the state tournament. Girls flag football, they played on Wednesday. We'll talk a little bit about that. Tennis and cross country updates as well. And then we get into what's in the paper. The paper comes out on Thursdays. We couldn't do this yesterday because it was my fault. I had other obligations, but we're back here at noontime. Appreciate all the folks that watch us. And then we'll get into Asheebo's Athlete of the Week before we go into what we're going to be touching on or where we'll be over the next few days. All right, let me get rid of this screen and we will get into Asheebo. Let's talk about high school football last Friday. What went on?
Yeah, so start with a big game here for Seaforth as they try to get a stronger hold on the conference championship there with the Big 7 4A 5A conference. They got a big win over South Granville, 27-7. And in this one, I watched it on the stream. To me, I thought it was one of the best performances of the year, winning their third game in a row. And like we said, they've continued to be right there in the race for the conference title, 3-0 with South Granville and JF Webb. And not South Granville, now JF Webb. But yeah, in this game, Seaforth, they jumped on South Granville early. They started this game with a 7-yard touchdown pass from Duncan Parker to Max Hinchman. And then the next possession after that, they got a strip sack, and Noah Griner picked it up for a touchdown, getting a 13-0 lead. And then early in the second quarter, Nick Gregory, who's been taking over at running back there, helping out the Seaforth run game, he ended it with a short run in the end zone. Well, not ended the game, but it pretty much put Seaforth just way ahead to where South Granville just couldn't come back at that point. Defense was on point in this one, too. They had 4 takeaways, of course, with the sack fumble, but they also had interceptions from Jude O'Neill and Patrick Miller. And they had another fumble recovery in the third quarter as well. So holding that South Granville team, like I said, coming into this one, I thought South Granville was actually going to beat Seaforth because I looked at, what they had athletically outside at the receiver positions and at the running back positions. I didn't quite know how Seaforth was going to be able to handle that, but they came in, they shut down this Vikings offense, holding them to, I think, just 157 yards in that game. And Seaforth's defense, just playing who they got in front of them, they've allowed only 2 scores in the last 2 games. So they're rolling going into this game tonight against JF Webb. And, of course, Duncan Parker also had another touchdown in that one to put the finishing touches on that one for the 27 points. But, yeah, JF Webb is hosting Seaforth tonight. Seaforth can take their first conference title ever, program history, if they get the win tonight, because they'll have the tiebreaker over both JF Webb and South Granville, regardless how the rest of the conference finishes out. But, Gene, do you want to go ahead and talk about that game tonight, or do you want to run down the other games?
Well, I don't know, whatever you prefer. I was going to say you're going to be at that game tonight, so we're going to jump ahead a little bit and let folks know that Asheebo is going to be playing and be at that game tonight. That's up in Oxford, and as Asheebo said, this is a big one for the Seaforth Hawks. I was at the game last Friday, and the enthusiasm level is up there. We talked to 5 of the players after the game, and they were all excited about how much they've accomplished, and they seem to be sticking with what the coaches are teaching them. It was a little bit they they never lost control of the game, and they stayed on top of things. So I think going into this game, things will be going well. So, but let's finish up with the rest of the games from Friday.
Yeah, and then Northwood, they played another conference game against Northmore, won that one 27-6. So that's their second win in a row. They're doing well right now in conference play. And in this one, senior quarterback Grayson Cox, he was responsible for all three of Northwood's touchdowns, 2 touchdown passes to junior receiver Rojas Torres, and then he had a 5-yard touchdown run himself to down the Mustangs. So also we had Leo Mortimer, the kicker, come back for Northwood in this game. He made 2 big field goals, making one from 23 yards and another one from 30 to help Northwood have that 13-6 lead before halftime. And kicking, special teams has been huge for Northwood in those past 2 games, especially before halftime, as a made kick by Campbell Parks helped them beat Dram 2 weeks ago. But in this one, just looking at Northwood's defense as well, another great game for them, holding their opponents to under 20 points for the second week in a row. And that run-heavy Northmore offense, they did pretty well, just holding them to 141 yards on the ground on 42 attempts. So not many yards per carry for Northmore in that game. And they'll be at Southwestern Randolph tonight at 7 p.m. to see if they can continue to rise up in the conference standings. And then we also had Jordan Matthews playing Southwest Randolph last week as well. Jordan Matthews fell in this one though, 48-18, excuse me. And in this one, Southwest Randolph took a 21-0 lead to start the game. But Jordan Matthews didn't give up, and that was something that we talked with Coach Carter about this season. When Jordan Matthews gets down, sometimes they just lay down and let that be that. But they decided to fight back in this one. They scored 3 straight times to get it within 21-18. Just couldn't get the extra points there. But they were right there. They had senior quarterback Kamari Hadley throw a 60-yard touchdown pass to junior Namir Wiley. Then they recovered the ensuing kickoff. And then Jakari Blue scored it there to bring it to 18. And they're also, too, but early in that fourth quarter, I mean, that's when things early in the fourth quarter, Wiley took a punt return 59 yards to the house there to bring them 21-18, excuse me. But then later on in that fourth quarter, Southwest Randolph really just turned it on, got back to what was working in the beginning. Seeing running back Brody Shepard, he got a pick 6 there, and to make it 41-18 at the end of that game, and another touchdown for them at the end there put Southwest Randolph ahead by 30. So just fell apart there in the fourth quarter for Jordan Matthews. They couldn't quite complete the comeback, but they'll go into this week with a bye before their final game of the season next Friday. And then Chatham Central versus South Davidson. Not South Davidson. Chatham Central versus South Stokes. That was supposed to be last Friday. That game did get canceled due to Chatham Central not being able to field enough players due to injuries. And it was just due to injuries. As you guys know, and have read some of the stories in the paper, Chatham Central did have a smaller team once again this year. Just under 30 kids. So, of course, they lost their starting quarterback, Brooks Albright, earlier in the year. They lost a couple guys in some games throughout the season. And once you get down to certain numbers, it's hard to field enough that you can have to, as far as having players play both sides and also still be healthy enough to play later games in the season. So Chatham Central just couldn't go out on the field last Friday, but they do plan on going out on the field tonight against South Davidson at home. And South Davidson, really good opponent there, 8-0. So it'll be another challenge for the Bears, but it'll be good to see them back out there. Hopefully the players that were injured are healthy enough to go out there and give their all. And we hope that they can continue to stay injury-free throughout the rest of these last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think one of the things you and I talked about several times this season, and in fact, I think you and I have seen improvements in the team there at Chatham Central, is the fact that they just don't have enough players to sustain a whole bunch of injuries, and it got to them this past weekend. The neat thing about this game, they're playing an 8-0 team, so it's going to be tough, but it is homecoming, folks. So again, homecoming, you got halftime activities out there on the football field. The field is dry. I just remember I was out there once when it was raining, and unfortunately, the girls that were out there, their heels just kept on sinking into the turf. The field is dry for this homecoming. Game starts at 7. So I may be out there. Don't know yet. We'll need to check on a few things. So again, homecoming for them. Do you even want to give a well? I think we know who's going to win this game. I don't think we even need to give a number as to what we think the score is going to be. What do you think?
Yeah, I think South Davidson is going to win this game over Chatham Central. My score prediction was 49-0. But I think, just it's been rough for Chatham Central this season, especially with how they felt coming into the season. They felt that this year, and looking at their schedule, they could have done a lot better. But just it's tough when you lose your starting quarterback and you already don't have a very deep team. It's tough to rally around that, and they've struggled with that this season. So yeah, it's unfortunate what happened with the Bears this season, but Coach Little and the guy, I know him and his coach staff will have the boys that are playing ready to play to the best of their ability, and they'll be able to hopefully finish out the season, like I said, healthy and having enough players to play these last 2 games. But yeah, I think if Brooks Albright gets to play through this whole season, they get what they were looking for in their offense with the speed of Tyler Congrove, and you have Nick Glover at receiver, Savion Burnett, Anse Ramirez. Those guys can go down and make some plays with the ball. I think there's a couple of games this season where that could have been different outcomes. Even earlier this season, they were in games where they lost by a couple of points, 1 possession that easily could have went the other way, and we could be looking at a team with maybe 2 or 3 wins this season. So just got to get overcome the injuries, and I think if a lot of these guys come back next year, which we know, I think they'll be losing Nick Glover, but the rest of the guys, hopefully they can stay healthy next year, get some more numbers. They might be in for a much better season next year in this conference.
I would definitely have to agree with you. Okay, before we go on, I want to thank all the folks that are watching. I'm actually monitoring you guys as you're watching on Facebook. I'm not tracking X or YouTube right now, but we got Tiffany out there, Angela, Cassandra, Melody, Lewis. Actually, somebody noted that Rajay had an interception in that game. So, folks, if you hadn't watched it, yes, Rajay had an interception. And okay, Asheebo, I'm going to put you on the spot because one of the people that's watching actually has a stake in tonight's game. We got Coach Talbert Matthews watching. We're going to have to get him to come on as a guest one of these days. Have you made your prediction as to how that game's going to go tonight when the Hawks go up to Oxford and Coach Matthews is watching this? I don't know if you want to put something out there that's going to be bulletin board material, but go for it.
Well, my prediction may be bulletin board material again, but we'll get to that. But we can talk about just a little bit of this game and what's going into it tonight. Of course, like we said, Seaforth has a chance of clinching of the Big 7 4A conference tonight with this win. They'll also get 5 wins, which is the most in program history. So this is a big game for Seaforth. I just looking at JF Webb though, we running the ball is their bread and butter. They have senior running back McKellis Hopgood last week, who tied the state record with 8 rushing touchdowns against Cedar Ridge, rushing 384 yards on 22 carries in that game. But we know Cedar Ridge, not the best competition, but looking at what he's done in other games this year, he has been a very productive back, as well as senior running back Josiah Daniel, junior Elijah Kenton. This team has rushed for over 400 yards in 3 straight games. So they're going to attack Seaforth on the ground. And like I said, I like what Seaforth's defense has done in conference play. They've been playing some really good football. 3 straight wins in which opponents scored less than 30 points. But like I said, I think the unit will have to have its best night tonight if they want to win this game at JF Webb, with the stakes on the line, because JF Webb is also fighting to stay in the conference championship race as well. So also looking toward, with the pressure the defense will have tonight, I think Seaforth's offense will really have to put some points on the board tonight as well. Like I said, they found some things that have gotten to work with Nick Gregory in the run game, adding that with Duncan Parker running the ball as well. And of course, he's been able to, that's been able to open up the pass game for them as well, getting the ball downfield to Max Hinchman Patrick Miller and Jude O'Neal there in the short game. So they're able to score some points, defense can get some stops. Like I said, I think C4 can compete in this game. I'm not saying C4 is going to go up there and get beat down. I don't think that's going to happen tonight. I think C4 is really going to compete, and I do think they have a chance of winning this game. They very well could, but Coach Robert Matthews, C4 people, they might be mad at me. This is going to be bulletin material. Again, I did predict JF Webb to win this one 36-28. Like I said, they have a lot of talent in their run game, and they're going to be at home. So it's going to be really tough. I think it's going to be a really tough game for C4, probably one of their toughest in a couple of weeks here. So we'll see if they can rise to the occasion, which they did last week. And I give them credit for that. And we'll see if they prove me wrong. I won't be mad if they prove me wrong. And if they do, we'll have a great story about it. But that's our prediction for that game.
All right. I was going to say it's already started because Sandra's noted we are claiming this win for the Hawks. So it's already starting. And folks, Asheebo's going to be at that game. So I know if the Hawks win, Coach Tolbert is going to be enjoying that post-game discussion with Asheebo. But folks, that's what makes high school football here in Chatham County exciting. So yes, look, Coach, you got to step up your game. You got to win. You got to win, and you got to get into that Chatham Journal red zone and score. So afterwards, you can have a little fun time there with Asheebo and just keep some of the other coaches away, like Tobias, because then Tobias will be. Are you wearing your blue UNC jacket for tonight's game?
I don't know. I might, because basketball is back tonight. They're playing. I think is it BYU for the scrimmage?
Yes, BYU.
Yep. So it won't be for football because I don't know how well they'll do tomorrow against Virginia, but
yeah, we're not going there.
Yeah.
We'll see. No, if some of you people saw the interaction between Tobias and Asheebo from a few weeks ago, they were all in fun. It was actually interesting to watch, and we got a lot of thumbs up on that. So again, Justin, Ramona, folks, I do not know why your names pop up and some names don't. So don't get upset if I don't mention your name, because again, I don't know why Facebook says that some of you watching and some of you that are on may not be watching. So let's quit the yik-yakking. What else have we covered? Have we talked about Northwood's game tonight?
Not yet. I was just about to get into that. Northwood and Southwestern Randolph 5-3, and Northwood looking to continue this late season surge. They've got here 2 wins in a row, looking for a third. And just looking at Southwest Randolph, this is a balanced team. They got some running threats with their quarterback and Brody Shepard at running back as well, like we talked about earlier in the stream. And they can make some big plays in the pass game, just from what I've seen on film throughout the season. And looking at the run game, I think was something interesting is that they utilize a lot of different ways to get it going. So they're either going to do the handoff out the gun, or they'll have a direct snap to the quarterback, or they'll do a jet sweep. So Northwood's going to have to be on their toes defensively to be prepared for the many looks and different plays they're going to throw at them tonight. But I think that's been a strength here for Northwood is their defense, especially the defensive line, just been physically imposing in these last 2 games, allowing just a combined 3 scores. Like we said, thanks to the defensive line led by Mika Wilson and some good linebacker play as well. Offensively, I think Northwood has found something that works with their offense and their personnel, switching looks with Rajay Torres and Grayson Cox at quarterback, and then also putting Grayson in different situations as a running back or even sometimes a receiver, which has really helped open up their offense. And then Grayson can also get the ball down the field, not just to Rajay out wide, but he's found Nick Armstrong as well for some big catches and some touchdowns. So Northwood is the offense is coming alive late in the season. They're on fire. Playing at Southwest Randolph, I don't think will be too much of an issue. They've gone on the road, like we said last week, and beat Northmore there. So I think the key, like always, is getting Rajay Torres the ball in space. Good things always happen there, whether that's in special teams or in offense. And then defensively, too, him being able to get interceptions and the rest of the unit to be able to get some turnovers will be huge in this game. I actually have Northwood continuing their hot streak and beating Southwest Randolph in a close one tonight, 23-20.
All right. So you're saying 23-20 on that game. That game's away. Only local game at home is the uh, Chatham Central Bears. Coach Talbert and his Hawks are up in Oxford. Asheebo is going to be at that game. JM's got off this week, so
Yep.
they have a bye week to get ready for next week. So that brings us to your power rankings. I think there might have been a slight change since last week, or still the same as last week.
Still the same as last week. So last week, Seaforth, Northwood, Jordan Matthews, and Chatham Central in that order. This week, it's the same thing. Not much has changed. Seaforth, especially getting that big win over South Granville, solidified themselves as number one. Of course, they have the head-to-head over Northwood this season, even though Northwood has been looking like a really good football team as of late, and they also have the head-to-head over Jordan Matthews. So that's a little bit behind the order there. And then looking at the playoff picture, where teams are in their RPI standings. Of course, in 1A, every team will get in. So Chatham Central, as the 22nd team, doesn't have to worry about not making the playoffs, but theirs is just more seeding. So they're 22 there. In 3A, Northwood at that 34th spot in RPI. In 4A, Jordan Matthews also at the 34th spot. And in 5A, Seaforth is at the 39th spot, which I'm sure will probably change if they get a win tonight. Maybe even if they don't win tonight, I do see Seaforth possibly rising up here. But a win tonight would be huge for seeding. I think it's what they're looking forward to, because I think Seaforth, pretty good position. They should make the playoffs, but now is trying to play to get better positioning in the state tournament.
All right, so folks, you got a little bit idea of what might be coming up in the state tournament. That gives you a quick preview. We got state playoffs going on in girls volleyball. However, before we get that, someone got to play in their first NBA game down in Charlotte. So, Asheebo, why don't you tell us about that Chatham County student athlete who was down in Charlotte the other night?
Yeah, Drake Powell made his NBA regular season debut, first official game for him against the Hornets in his home state on Wednesday. Came in the game for 7 minutes, got 2 points. It was off of I think he blocked a shot at the rim and then got the rebound, took it coast to coast for a nice layup there. He did commit 4 fouls in that time and got 2 rebounds as well. But unfortunately, he did suffer an ankle injury that will keep him out tonight as the Nets play their home opener against the Cleveland Cavaliers. So he won't be on the floor tonight. Not sure how long he will be out. Hopefully, he'll be back soon. But not too bad of a start for Drake, just playing only 7 minutes. I'm sure if he was able to play more without the injury, he might have, may have better had a better stat line there. But yeah, 2.7 minutes, made a defensive play like we expected, and got down the floor quickly with his athleticism and got a bucket. So made a highlight play there, but hopefully we'll see him in more minutes and in some more games later down the road.
Yeah, the Nets put out a couple of videos of Drake's shot, and actually, there's one that we posted on the Facebook page where Drake makes a shot, and then they get a shot of his parents up in the stands smiling, of course. So, hey, congratulations to the Powell. It's great that you had that opportunity to see Drake, your son, in his first NBA game. All right, we are ready to talk about volleyball playoffs. We had a bunch of teams make it from Chatham County, and it looks like we're down to 2. So, Asheebo, why don't you give us the rundown of what's happened, where we're at, and what's coming up on Saturday afternoon?
Yeah, so where we at? We're here at the 4th round tomorrow. We'll have Woods Charter hosting number 3 East Columbus. Woods Charter, the 2nd seed in the 1A East bracket. And then in the 5A East bracket, we'll have 5th seed Seaforth playing at number 1 Cedar Ridge. So 4th matchup between Seaforth and Cedar Ridge this season. Cedar Ridge has won the first 3 by a score of 3-1. You guys remember the last time, and there's actually a story in this week's paper about the last meeting, which was in the Big 7 4A 5A conference tournament title game. So we'll see if Seaforth can finally get over the hump and beat Cedar Ridge. You guys remember Coach Helen May, who was an assistant at Seaforth last year. She's the head coach at Cedar Ridge. So we have a little connection there between both teams. And I was at the Woods Charter game last night when they beat Bear Grass Charter 3-1. Really good game for a 3-1 game. Woods Charter commanded the first set there and won that one pretty easily. Then that second set, they were down early, down I think 5-0, and then Anna Stunneback, she just led a run with a couple of service aces there, and they climbed all the way back, battled it out, and won the second set to take a 2-0 lead. And then after losing the third set, Beargrass Charter got some momentum there in that fourth set. They were leading most of the fourth set there, but then Woods Charter just stuck around. Annabelle Una took over as the server. After she had a kill that tied the game at 20, she got a service ace to make it 21-20, and from there, Woods Charter closed the deal. And so, yeah, they in the fourth round, I think this is the deepest the program has been. So this is new territory for them. Just 2 games from the state championship, and they're definitely a team that I could see getting there with the talent they have, the experience they have, because a lot of these girls were younger last year in their impressive regular season run in state playoff time, and now they're putting it together, putting that experience together, and knocking some teams down here in the playoffs. So, like I said, they're hosting East Columbus, C4. Like I said, it's just a familiar foe, so should be a really good game. I plan on being out there tomorrow. Not totally sure yet, still in the air, but I'm leaning towards going out there up to Cedar Ridge, up there in Hillsboro, and checking that one out once again. And then just for the rest of the playoffs, we had Chatham Charter in 1A West, also Chatham Central in 1A West. They fell in the previous round. Chatham Charter lost to River Mill 2-3. And in that one, Chatham Charter was actually up 2-0, but River Mill completed the 2-0 comeback and won 3 straight sets there. So tough loss there for Chatham Charter. But Chatham Central lost 3-0 to Bethany Community. And then 3A East, we had Northwood. Of course, they won their first round over Barton County 3-0, but they lost to Farmville Central 3-0 in the following round. And then Jordan Matthews was out in the first round to Southwestern Randolph by a score of 3-0 in the 4A tournament. So just a quick rundown of how the playoffs have gone so far and what we're looking forward to tomorrow.
All right. And before we get into the unofficial power rankings for volleyball, you did do a couple of post game interviews with the coach Ghosh, Coach Amanda, and a couple of players. You put that up on X. Is that correct?
Yes, Coach Amanda Goff. I think I talked to Annabelle Una, Cecilia Brignati, Anna Stunnebeck, and Elliot Hingston as well. All 4 of them put their impact on that game and talked to them about it. It was a big win for them. Very, like I said, very emotional game, and it was a very great environment. Woods Charter, shout out to their students and their parents as well. Filled out their gym. Beargrass Charter traveled well as too, but their students very loud, very energetic, and I think that really did fuel them in that win. And they got a big. I actually got a shot with the team and the students after the game. So hopefully they'll keep that team spirit up tomorrow at home once again.
Yeah, I think Woods is actually the first 20 students that show up. Well, 20 Woods charter students that show up will get to go get in free tomorrow. And I had been there at the previous game earlier in the week. And yes, when the soccer players showed up and filled up the student section, it did get loud. And there's definitely Coach Amanda had mentioned that definitely got them pumped up, and that support is greatly appreciated by the volleyball team. Your unofficial power rankings for Chatham County volleyball?
Yeah, might be probably the last one because we get into the end here. But of course, I have C4 at 1, Woods right there at 2, and following them, I guess I'll say Chatham Central or Chatham Charter, Chatham Central, Northwood, and JM. I think that'll be
All right, folks. So that's your last unofficial power rankings for volleyball. We've got another sport going on. It's getting close to the playoff season, but it's not there yet. Let's talk about what's going on in soccer here in Chatham County.
Yeah, boys soccer. Plenty of good stuff going on here in Chatham. We got plenty of great teams making their final pushes for the playoffs. I'm getting some momentum there before the state tournament. So I went to the game between Jordan Matthews and Southwestern Randolph on Wednesday. Originally, I figured this one might have been for the conference, but Northwood spoiled that party because on Monday they beat Jordan Matthews 4-0. And I talked to Jordan Matthews coach Paul Quadros about that game, and he was like, "Yes, his boys just was just a disaster of a game for their standards." Of course, they get shut out which just hasn't been done, I think, in a couple of weeks for them. And it was a great win for Northwood, who's been playing some really good soccer. I think they're up to 5 wins in a row now after they beat Northmore 4-2 earlier this week as well. So Northwood is picking up some steam ahead of the playoffs. But Jordan Matthews played Southwestern Randolph and still went to that game because the first time Southwestern Randolph, as you guys know, one of the best teams in the state, and they're number 1 in the RPI rankings for 4A. The first time Jordan Matthews at their place gave them all they could handle. It was 1-1 till the end. Southwestern Randolph kicked in a penalty kick, I think, with 2 minutes left. And Jordan Matthews almost tied it at the end. They just missed a open goal, just went wide right. And so this game, they had the confidence, felt like they can come in and win this game. But Southwestern Randolph jumped on them early with 2 early goals. Fernando Hernandez Dominguez from Southwest Randolph had the first one, and he ended the game with 4 goals. But after going out 2-0, Jordan Matthews came back and scored 3 goals in, I think, span like 3 minutes. Humberto Vargas scored 2 of those, and then Jeremy Alvarado put the moves on one guy and got open and scored another one to give him a 3-2 lead. And they held that for a couple minutes, but Southwest Randolph just did a really good job of responding in that game. And exhilarating as a game it was, they took the lead. They tied it again, made it 3-3, and took a 4-3 lead before the half. And then Hernandez Dominguez from Southwestern Randolph, 2 more goals for him in the second half, and they pretty much dominated Jordan Matthews in that second half. They didn't get as many opportunities there, and they just looked like the better team in that second half. But talking to Coach Paul Krajos, young team, he's hoping they can learn from that experience, and they might even see Southwestern Randolph again in the playoffs. So we'll see if they'll meet for a third time. But also in the county for boys soccer, Woods Charter had a big conference game against Clever Garden School on Monday, and that story is also in this paper. We were able to get that one before the deadline, and Woods Charter just didn't show up as they hoped as far as with effort. They also had some players missing in that game and lost it 3-0, so they weren't able to hold on to a share of the conference title. Clever Garden School swept them this season and clinched the conference title this week. But also in that conference, Chatham Charter that same night on Monday beat River Mill 3-2. First time to beat River Mill in a couple of years. And they followed that with a 2-1 loss to Ascend Leadership. And then Seaforth, 3 straight wins for Seaforth. Last week they beat Durham School of the Arts, and this week they come back with 2 straight wins over JF Webb, 6-0 the first meeting, and then 8-0 in the second one. So Seaforth getting 2 big wins before the state tournament as well. I think everyone has 1 more week, which is next week for the regular season before the playoffs begin on November 3rd. They're going to bracket the tournaments with all the seedings on Friday, October 31st.
All right, folks. So this is the last week coming up before playoffs. Asheebo, unofficial power rankings for volleyball here in the county. I'm sorry, soccer.
Boys soccer. Yeah, boys soccer. I would put, I don't know. It's really interesting between Northwood and JM. Both teams are really young. Northwood did get the win over JM. But I think I think JM has a higher ceiling from what we've seen, especially against teams like Southwestern Randolph, where they can compete with some really good teams. So I'll still give JM the edge there. Then I'll put Northwood right under them. I think Seaforth comes in at 3 here, considering their schedule and what I've seen from them. And Woods close there at 4, and then at 5, Chatham Charter. I think that top 4, they play some really good soccer this season. So especially when we get in the middle there, that 3, 4, even 2, 3, or 4, it could be a little bit of a toss up. But I think Northwood and JM and Northwood are definitely 2 of the top teams in the county this season.
All right. And before we go into tennis and golf and cross country, just want to thank the folks that are watching. I'm seeing Sue Burks up there, Jimmy, Norris, Angela, Glover's there, Robert Coleman, Norris Lee. Thank you for watching. Again, I don't know why some of your names pop up and some of you don't, but we do appreciate the viewership. All right. Let's get into golf, tennis, and cross country. What's going on with those sports?
Yeah, so tennis, as you know, Duro team playoffs was going on this week, and out of this week, we have one team remaining. Seaforth will play Durham School of the Arts in the regional final on Tuesday. So they're playing for a chance to go to the dual team state championship game in 5A. But earlier this week, we had Green Central beating Northwood in the second round 6-0, and NCSSM Morganton beat Chatham Charter 9-0 in the second round in 1A. But Seaforth on the way to the regional final, they beat West Carteret in the second round, Crowton in the third round, and then recently Western Alamance in the fourth round. So we'll see if the Hawks can get one more and get to the state final. And individual tournaments start actually today, and just giving you a rundown of who we have in there. So as far as um, looking at girls tennis in the individuals, we have in 1A Mac Allen and Maggie Moody from Chatham Charter competing for the doubles state championship starting. Um, Actually, theirs is going to be November 1st at noon, and not today. I think next week. I'm sorry, individual tournaments start next week, and then in 5A we have Mackenzie Ray for C4s and doing a single, and then Ella Christensen and Tatum Dell from C4 doing a doubles tournament as well. So those are individuals in girls tennis. Just let me make sure that date is correct. As I was looking at it this morning, individual state championships. Oh no, they actually are starting today. My apologies. Individual state tournaments for tennis are starting today. So those are our local competitors. And then in girls golf, we had the regionals going on this week as well. So the 5A East Regional, they did not. Tinsy Borland and Annika Johansson from Seaforth competing, but they did not make state, unfortunately. But our state qualifiers came from Northwood out of the 3A East Regional, Taylor Thompson and Brianna. I'm sorry. I think it's Brianna Graham. I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, Brianna. But yeah, from Northwood, they'll be making state as well. And for our East Regional, we had one from Jordan Matthews and Geneva Williams, and she unfortunately will not make state. But two state qualifiers for girls golf from Northwood, and then across country we had last week our conference championship meets. Four Rivers 3A 4A. We had for the boys race we had Jordan Wiley from Northwood, and for the girls race we had Sydney Gray from Northwood winning that one. And Northwood's boys and girls won as a team. Central Tar Heel won a conference. Not sure exactly all of the final results, but I know Torres Price did win the boys race out of Chatham Charter, and then we didn't have any conference champions from Big Seven, 4A, 5A. But yep, those are just the conference champions. I think we'll have regionals starting today for cross country as well, and then we'll have more information on who makes state from there in next week.
All right, and that's why again I just want to plug the fact that we do this live stream usually on Thursdays. The paper comes out on Thursdays, and Asheebo, if you want to, make sure you're following him at Asheebo R38 on X, where you will see updates. I follow him and repost that information as well. So we want to get that news out there. The other thing is we've had a bunch of folks watching today. If you don't mind, just give us a thumbs up. That helps out, because what happens is if your friends on Facebook see that you've given a thumbs up on something, they're more likely to come over and watch us as well. So thank you so much for doing that. All right, let's get into the paper. The paper came out yesterday. And Asheebo, what you've got in the paper this week?
Yeah, so this week we have our football roundups, week 9 recap, week 10 preview. We have our fall sports roundup, of course. We have a story from Seaforth and Cedar Ridge in the conference tournament title last week. Cedar Ridge, like we said, won that game 3-1. You can read more about that. And then we also have a story from Bliss Charter, Clever Garden School boys soccer. It's supposed to be it was going to be a big game in a conference there. But then we also have a story on the Bray Park youth baseball field being renamed in honor of Nat Murray, longtime coach for 60 years there for Solid City Youth Baseball. So he got honored there. It was a great time with his family and members of the Solid City community that played with him and knew him growing up. So you can read more about the honor and that night in the paper as well.
All right. You know what I forgot before we get into everyone's favorite, which is Asheebo's Player of the Week? We didn't talk about girls flag football. They played over JM the other night. You got in Chatham County, we got Seaford playing, we've got Northwood playing, and we've got JM playing. And I will say that having been out on Wednesday's game, watching Wednesday's game, and look, the thing is, they've got two games going on one time at the field. So I apologize because I'm trying to get pictures and videos of both, but they seem to have a bunch of fun doing it. Asheebo, what is the scoop on girl? It's not a sanctioned sport yet, but what's the scoop on Chatham County girls flag football?
Yeah, so final regular season week of the inaugural season here in the league with Southeast and Eastern Alamance, like with the teams you mentioned here in the county. And so last week we had Seaforth beating Eastern Alamance, 26-24. But they lost to Southeast Alamance 24-20. And then we had Northwood beating Eastern Alamance 41-6. And Northwood also beat Jordan Matthews 15-6. I'm not sure if Jordan Matthews scored with Southeast Alamance, but they did lose that game. And now we have the final standings that were used to determine who makes the final tournament, which is going to be played Tuesday at Jordan Matthews. This is for the championship in this inaugural season. And top four, we have Southeast Alamance 12-0. Northwood is second, 9-3. Seaforth third at 4-8. Jordan Matthews fourth at 3-9. And Eastern Alamance will be the last team. They will not make the tournament at 2-10. So with the top four teams, we'll start on Tuesday with Jordan Matthews playing Southeast Alamance and Seaforth playing against Northwood. And that semifinal there, that's going to be at 6 o'clock. And then at 7 o'clock, after those two games wrap up, the winners will play in the championship game, like we said, at Jordan Matthews.
All right. I'm hoping to be there again. Don't know about my schedule yet, but that should be fun. And it's neat to see that all three of our Chatham County girls flag football teams have made it. I put some videos out on YouTube. Girls have a whole bunch of fun. And the thing is, if you look at some of the videos from their first game to where they're at right now, I think Northwood had one where they had 4 handoffs between all the they wouldn't have been able to do that play at the beginning of the season, but Coach Wilford's got them going. All right. I mean, Coach Wilford. Whitaker's got them going. Word salad here. All right. Now, everybody's favorite, Asheebo's Athlete of the Week. Who is that this week?
Yeah, Athlete of the Week. We're going to Northwood football, giving it to Grayson Cox. He earns Athlete of the Week honors. And honestly, this was a tough one from that game because we had a lot of players have a great game in that one. But Grayson, like you said, responsible for all 3 of his team's touchdowns. He threw the 2 touchdown passes to Rajay Torres and scored 1 by himself on the short run. And which is it's been with him, it's kind of like the same thing we've seen with some other players in the county, right? Taking on multiple roles for Northwood this season. He's, of course, as a quarterback, but he's been stepping in as a running back with Robert Tripp and Leo Mortimer missing some time. And he's also, went out there on the defense as well as defensive back, making some plays and sometimes lined up as receiver. So he's helped Northwood win 2 straight games, like you said, and then now at second place in the 4 Rivers 3A 4A conference. I expect a big game from him and the rest of the guys at Northwood tonight, like I said, against Southwestern Randolph, and we'll see if they can win 3 in a row tonight.
Yeah, I'm hoping they do well, and I just want to say congratulations, Grayson. And I know in one of the games that we were at, I was standing next to Coach Randy Cox, Grayson's dad. He coaches the lacrosse team at Northwood, we're just both looking at each other going, yeah, Grayson's not going to let him lose this game. He's gonna win it. And again, with some of the players that they've got on the team, you mentioned Rajay, the interception he had. It's a good team. I just wish they had a few more buys because Robert Tripp got hurt, and that's affected their plays to a certain extent. And there's other players that have gotten hurt as well. So, congratulations to Grayson. Congratulations to Northwood. Looking for a lot of excitement at tonight's games. Asheebo's going to be at that Seaforth game, and you know what? If they win, maybe Tobias is going to make you wear an NC State jacket. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
There's not many things that will allow me to wear anything NC State. Like I said, the only red you'll see me wearing is from our Archer Tigers back home. That's it.
There you go. Staying true to the home high school team. All right, folks. Thank you for watching. We're going to be back next Thursday. Asheebo will be at the Seaforth game tonight. I can't commit to anything at this moment. I may be at something tonight, but we'll see. Again, thanks for watching. Pick up a copy of the paper, and we'll see you back next Thursday at noontime. And again, I've got to pop this because if you want the most updated stuff going on, follow this man, Asheebo Rojas, R38 on X. All right, folks. Thank you very much. Asheebo, anything else to say?
Nope. Once again, thank you all for watching. It's been a pleasure to hear you guys, interact with us, tell us that you've been watching and talk about what we're talking about. So if you see us, like we said, if you see us out at the games, don't hesitate to say hello. Don't hesitate to talk smack about our predictions too. Hey, we love to talk about them. So thank y'all for watching, and we'll see y'all tonight.
Yeah, and I also want to thank the student athletes because I know, having been on the sidelines, Asheebo and I are on the sidelines. Asheebo doesn't stand up in the press box too much. I've had several of them say Asheebo does a really nice job here on the Thursday live streams, and they also, it's apparently a big honor when Asheebo pulls them aside after the game to talk to them. So, gentlemen, we enjoy doing this, and Asheebo's doing a great job here covering sports in Chatham County. We'll see you